What is happening, people? Let's go through a bit of a weekly outlook, what I'm kind of expecting. We'll start with the euro, and then we'll kind of go from there. So my 4 hour is bearish currently. So what I'm looking for is to keep selling. We have come into a daily area and a daily, more or less a daily demand, probably the decisional as well. So we can actually get a bit of a retracement now. And on that 4 hour, we don't actually really have 2 points either. We do have more or less a demand to supply, so this supply here. So what I'd be looking for is we come and head to this. So that's the first area I'm targeting, and then we kind of go from there. So realistically, the kind of options I'm seeing is something like that, or we come and take the high of that point, and we trade off the high of that point. So they're the two options I see for this week on the 4 hour. Now we have also got this break and retest, which we've now taken on this 4 hour as well. That could be enough for a bit of a retracement. At the moment, it's not looking like it is. So I kind of just want to keep trading buyers at the moment, okay? Like I said, it can actually be an area which we turn around from, but at the moment, it's not looking like that's the case. So we may actually just keep buying. So let me just make it so we can only see this on the hour time frames, like that. So they're the options I'm seeing on the high time frame coming into this week. If we jump down to the lower time frame, so the 15 minutes, this is the range we're currently working in. We've got the extreme, so my 15 minute is more or less the exact same kind of range actually, which is odd, but it is currently the case. That's the range I'm working in on the 15 minute. Okay, so as you can see from this range, we have ideally broken up. That's actually more or less my range. I think I'm going to use that as my range. So that's my external 15-minute range. We're now coming into the area of extreme. So off of that area of extreme, we will see what happens. I'm willing to take a trade through it, but I'm also willing to take a trade off of it. Now, the only problem with using this as the point is we don't have a lot of imbalance above this. So I guess the two options coming in for today are selling off of this point or selling off of the take of this point. Realistically, just the same for our outlook, just on a smaller scale. We've got, like I said, that internal break here with a bunch of liquidity that sits more or less involved in this area. There hasn't been a take of liquidity, so our internal range is still this range here. That's more or less still my decisional. So we are due for a bit of a sell-off. So I don't mind selling off this area. I don't really have a second point here. I would say if we take this high, I would actually rather sell off of this. I would say they're too close together that you'll find that you'll actually get that type of reaction off of here. So I am open to selling off of the both of these points coming into today. I have got this area as my extreme and that as my internal, given that that's what broke through this point here. Mitigating that decisional, we created a structure cycle away. So given my rules, these are my two areas in which I'm willing to take a trade off of. So if I mark these out, this is kind of the approach. So we either get a nice little sell-off here down to that, or it creates some type of a trap. We get a sell-off like that, or like that. Okay, I don't really see a room to buy currently at the moment. You have got this as more or less break and retest as well. So this point is valid. It's just looking like it's not going to hold. Obviously with how aggressive we are to it. But we have got probably an hour till London Open anyway. But they're the options I'm more or less seeing coming in today. They're the three options. I don't see a way to buy, like I said. So that is the euro. You'll probably find that all saved on the higher time frame as well. So what I'll do is just make it so we can't see any of this on that higher time frame. Okay, so if you guys want to know how to do this, is how I do it. Select stuff and then change the visibility so we can't see it on the hourly, like that. So they're the options coming in today, but that's more or less the weekly outlook. So understanding that we can come higher into this point, I would say buyers are more or less kind of the go, but I'm open to both sides of the market. Now GU on the 4 hour, I wanted to keep selling like that. Let's remove all of the drawings we've got. This is just something I think everyone should get into the habit of doing every week. It's what I do. So that was my 4 hour range on GU. We've now had that break of structure to the downside. So now I'm open to going the opposite direction. So let me change the colors of that like that. Opposite to still selling. Now we have come into this daily demand area. So if I look at the daily quickly, you can see this is the area of demand that broke through this area. So what I'm kind of expecting from a long-term perspective is a bit of a push up here and then to come and take this point here to possibly continue. So what I really want to see is coming for that. And that'll take this trend line as well in the meantime. So there's lots of reasons from a liquidity standpoint for that. So the options I'm seeing coming into today, there's not really a decisional in this range. I don't really see that as a take of decisional either. Yes, it had a fair pullback and a break. So realistically, I guess we can use this as our new range, use that as the extreme. And then we realistically, unfortunately, don't actually have anything on a smaller time frame to use. So given that there's nothing to kind of use on that time frame, I'm expecting that we kind of push up, at least for the interim of this week, and come up to here. Okay, now once we get to here, there's multiple options once we get to that point. The first option is just to sell off this point. That is definitely something that can happen, just like that. Or what will happen is something like we have on EU, where we come and take this point and then get a bit of a sell-off, which I actually like a lot better. I think that works out from a high time frame perspective. And I think that kind of brings in those buyers that we will want to be brought in. So I think that's more likely. I think it's more likely we actually sell from the take of that. So what I will do is marking that out for this week is I'll expect us to take that. Personally, I think it's just a more viable option. It's the one that makes sense in terms of liquidity, given that this is more or less a straight range. And that's my external 4 hour now. I would say that we come and take this high and then sell off, looking to come and take the break and retest, which is this low here. You've got obviously this point here, which is the daily point, which I would like to come down to. So GU actually makes the most sense for me from a high time frame perspective coming into this week. So I really like that. I think that makes the most sense, like I said. So that'll be my higher time frame outlook. So let's make it so we can't see those on a lower time frame, like so. And let's jump down and have a look what we've got on the 15 minute. So on the 15 minute, this is my external range. We have had that internal break of structure, and now we've come into this point and reacted off of it. Now we've reacted off of it, I would say we're going to take it. It's looking like we're going to take it. So the options we've got is internally, we haven't created any new structure. We took this break and retest, came into mitigation, and then fell off. We then took a bunch of liquidity and have pushed further into this point. So what this creates is just realistically just liquidity. I don't actually see a way that this has kind of created any new type of ranges. We can sell off the take of this high. It is a possibility. But it's more or less that this will be used as a smart money trap when you get that type of reaction. So the two options I see coming into today is one, just like EU, is the take of this high. And the second option is we use this area that's just been created here is as a trap. So in using that as a trap, what that'll actually give us is a way to kind of sell into this like that. Okay, coming to take this area here, and then once that's taken, we can reevaluate what the go is, because you've got to think ahead in situations like this. If we push up slowly and break this point, this is now my supply to demand area. One, it can be used as a trap, yes, but more likely, given the significance of this point, we'll actually create liquidity, push up, and then we'll come and take that liquidity and continue higher like that. So, and that'll be like more of a New York session or an early London session tomorrow. So we'll obviously have to wait and see, but they're the options I see coming in today on GU. Obviously got about an hour until open. Over to AU. So now AU, let me just, we've got a lot going on here. Let's remove all of this, settings, same as before. Make it so we can't see any of it. Cool. All right, so that was my last range. We have, I believe we've induced that 4 hour low. So this is technically an internal break of structure, which I'm going to use as an internal break of structure. And off of that break of structure, that now makes our range bearish. So that's the range I have. This is a decisional, this is my extreme. What I'm expecting on the 4 hour is, given we've taken that low, is simply take and melt off like that. Okay, that's what I want to see on the 4 hour. If we like completely disregard that and keep pushing, we're obviously just going to keep pushing. And we'll take the high, we'll have a new range, and AU will probably be untradeable for a couple of days if that's the case. We just don't have enough to work with. And because that's the case, I won't be trading AU. I need ranges. I need small ranges at least, something on the, the 15 minute, etc. And at the moment, AU is just not providing that. So if we don't get this scenario, I will be staying away from AU. Okay. So what we can do is let's make it so we can just see these. That down to a low time frame, 15 minute. Now my 15-minute range more or less is this external high to this external low. We never really broke past that. In terms of the decisional of this range, this here was actually the decisional. It pulled up and took some liquidity and melted. So we've now broken internally. That's still my external range. We can actually come up even higher than this. Realistically, the extreme is kind of all filled. Realistically, there's a little bit of imbalance, which we can come grab. So I'll mark it out, but it can just come to this point. But we've internally broken. This is that decisional of that area. So I'm going to mark out my extreme as that entire area here. I see us buying up to this. And this more or less actually makes sense given what GU and EU are as well. So I would like to come and take this high and then buy from that. This area should be a trap. Like I said, it may actually give a reaction. So something I'm open to is if we kind of read structure here, you've obviously got trend line form, break, which created multiple points, react off multiple points. I don't mind coming to take this low and then buying through it. So something like that. Here's quite nice. But ideally, what I want to see is that or that. They're the two options I kind of see today. Okay. Now they could be catching the reversal aspect of these points or trading this portion, which is the continuation aspect of this. In terms of internal points and things we have nothing. So once there's just nothing. There is literally nothing on AU to actually use in this range. So for me, once we if we sell, we will take this area here because this will all mean nothing because we haven't broken through that external range. So that'll mean nothing. And I would say we were coming to the area down here. So if I do get in these sells, I will be wanting to hold further here, obviously partialing out and then moving on from there. So really, really clean structure. That's what I want to see. So let's remove all of this so we can't see this on the higher time frame and move on from there. So they're the options on AU coming to today. Now the DXY is following exactly what we wanted to do. It's starting to sell off again. I just don't see this holding. Yes, we're reacting from a decisional area, but we're in the middle of an imbalance. So realistically, I just want to take this lot of liquidity, which is internal break and retest here or here. So they're the two levels I'm going to be targeting. And all we're looking for is that. Oops. That and or that. Okay, so they're the two options. And all this is doing is just generating liquidity. I would like to come here. That's my target, which makes sense a lot structurally. Just understand we are bearish, but I say we're at least coming here as a minimum. Break and retest. I wouldn't probably have that. Yeah, see, I would have that as a low that needs to be taken. So those two options there. And nice and easy. So any questions for today, let me know. Live with the group tomorrow, which will be good. So if you're not in the premium group, make to get involved in that. We uploaded, I think, 4 case studies on the weekend for that group. So there's lots of content going up in there. And it's becoming a good little community. So if you're interested in that, link in the description. If not, you've got Telegram, you've got the free Discord, and obviously the videos that I'm posting. So let's continue on with the good price action we've got. Let's continue improving and see what we can do with the week. Good luck for the week, and I will see you guys tomorrow.